So we were pleasantly surprised in San Diego, Jesse, to see the news this morning. We didn't necessarily expect it now that we're a week into the year, but Jackson Merrill locked up long-term, 9 years, 135, a chance to earn more than that. What was your reaction to this deal from afar? And thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good to be with you guys. I mean, not shocked. You never know when these deals are going to go down. A lot of times it's at the end of spring training. Sometimes they carry over. But after Jackson Merrill signed up last year and Corbin Carroll the year before, this is what many of the medium to smaller markets do. Sometimes the bigger markets don't always do this right away. And some of the big agents like Scott Boras doesn't necessarily do this right away with clients. But it's not surprising. And one reason is that they believe in the kid, the character of the kid. This goes for 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds. They better love the game. They better be committed to the game if you're going to give 9 or 10-year contracts out. And not every player comes through for you. I mean, Anthony Rendon's probably the poster player for that, right? So I think they just believe in him. You guys are closer to it. Seems like a great kid. Watched the press conference today. So not surprised. Again, I couldn't guess timing. Those negotiations take time sometimes. But it's good to see the Padres, even with this transition in ownership, are moving ahead, signing Pivetta, signing up Jackson Merrill. This is good news, and the team's off to a great start.
If Jackson Merrill continues to get better and better, when you look at this deal, could you consider this like a team-friendly deal from afar?
Well, yes, of course it is in some ways, because that's the whole reason they offer it. Mm-hmm. I mean, there is a risk on both sides. He's very young. He could be bad for the next 8 years, right? That's possible.
Yeah.
But considering what he did last year, considering who he is, again, the character, that, yeah, he will give more value than that contract. But that's the trade-off. That's the correct trade-off. You can't give him the world. He hasn't done anything more than 1 year. And you can't completely lowball him either. It has to be a compromise. And most of the time, unless it's the biggest agents and the for sure thing players, they're going to get $700 million like Shohei or Soto. It's a smart move for both sides. And I think a lot of the smaller markets are trying to do this. Bobby Witt, Kansas City. It makes a lot of sense for the player, and it makes a lot of sense for the team as well.
Jesse Rogers from ESPN with us right now. Jon Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Jesse, in your opinion, does this say anything about the stability of the Padres ownership, considering the change they've had, the untimely passing of Peter, the interim chairperson, Eric Katsenda, now Peter's older brother, John Seiler, running the operation? We didn't necessarily know what to expect, but here he is a month on the job. There's been Pivetta. There's been this for over $100 million. What do you think it says about ownership?
Well, I definitely think it has to show at least a moment of stability here. Look, not only do you have the ownership thing, you have this new CBA in a couple of years. Who knows what the economic system is going to look like? And AJ Preller was given permission to go full speed ahead. So, yeah, I mean, look, rumors are rumors, but it went from trading Dylan Cease and Michael King to signing Pivetta and Jackson Merrill. It's crazy. But, I think the real story is somewhere in between. They weren't exactly sure what direction they were going to go in. And then he's given the green light to sort of go for it. They got a great core there. It'd be silly not to go for it in some respects. There's a 9-year deal. The money is spread out. It doesn't crush the Padres' finances, but it is telling that they are able to move forward. I think Pivetta was the one that showed that, to be honest.
Padres are a couple outs away here from starting their season 7-0. Jesse, what do you make of their start this year?
Well, it's going to be a great series. I'm in Chicago. Yeah. They're pitching versus the Cubs offense. The Cubs offense has been, if you can believe it, even better than the Yankees. They're just not getting as much notoriety for it, but they just finished a sweep in Sacramento, destroyed the Athletics pitching. So this will be a great series. If Mike Schultz listening, pack an umbrella, pack a winter hat, because it's going to be very cold. And that goes for all the players. So I love it. It's Petco's turned into a bit of a home field advantage, a party there. Really great start to their season. I think the Dodgers have raised the bar for everybody. I think the Diamondbacks, the Giants, obviously the Rockies are the Rockies, but I think the Dodgers have raised the bar in that division. And I think they understand, we're going to go for it if we can. If we don't beat out the Dodgers, well, there's 3 wild cards to be had. And that's what San Diego and Arizona is thinking. So, but of course they're going to try to dethrone LA. So I love their start. I'm not surprised by it. Of course, being undefeated could be a surprise, but they're a good team that's off to a great start. Now let's see what they do in some cold weather.
Yeah, I know the weekend's going to be very cold in Chicago. Do you see the National League West as potentially the best division in baseball this year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Colorado drags it down. I think San Francisco is going to be decent. It seems like they got a good vibe with Posey going in, for the moment. I mean, we can make smart. I do think the AL East is not as top heavy.
Mm-hmm.
They're all good. They're not as top heavy. So you couldn't still make a case for the AL East, even though the Yankees are off to a good start. I don't think any of those teams are necessarily better than the Dodgers or maybe even the Padres. Like the AL East has parity, but I'm not sure if it's elite parity, especially with Cole and Stanton out. So weigh that against a really good NL West division without Colorado. You know what I mean? Like we'll see. Now the NL East should be top heavy with Atlanta, Philly, and New York. But Atlanta's off to such a bad start. We'll have to see how that goes when Acuna and Strider come back. So if the Rockies were a little bit better, I'd give it to the NL West, but they drag it down a bit.
Jesse Rogers with us right now from ESPN. There's no question about it. When you look at Padres-Dodgers, like from afar, not talking about like a true rivalry, because we know they have the Giants. We know there's some great rivalries in baseball: Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs, Cardinals, obviously. But the way Padres-Dodgers has played out this decade, is this one of the more unique series going on right now in baseball? They've been in the postseason against each other 3 times this decade, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Well, yeah, I mean, I grew up in the Midwest. All I ever knew about was Dodgers-Giants, right? That was the rivalry for so long, and sort of a hatred, between the teams. The Padres were a little bit of an afterthought. And what's striking to me, and I've covered series here over the years, is just what I said earlier, the change that's gone on in terms of that home field. It feels like a home field advantage. It feels like a place to go. And maybe it has to do with the Chargers leaving, and it's the only show in town. You guys can speak to that better. But I think that has elevated everything, because we know the Dodgers show up. The crowd shows up. Maybe it's late. Maybe they leave early. But certainly they show up, and then the playoffs they show up. So, I look, it's not just the teams; it has to be the fan bases that come along for the ride. Giants have taken a dip in that category, right? Their attendance has come down. Padres has come up. So, I think it's fun. I think Padres Dodgers has kind of replaced Dodgers Giants in some ways.
Which is honestly incredible to say. I mean, we know the history of Dodgers Giants, but the recent history, the here and now of what's playing out in Southern California between the Padres and the Dodgers. And we know the Dodgers went through the Padres last year, but it has really been fascinating to watch. Even the Roki Sasaki sweepstakes this offseason, where people here thought there was a realistic shot. And a lot of that had to do with both the Padres and the Dodgers. Jesse, we appreciate it. We're looking forward to the upcoming series this weekend in Chicago between the Padres and the Cubs. And thanks for doing it, as always, for San Diegans.
You got it. Anytime. Be well.
All right. Great stuff from Jesse Rogers, ESPN. The Padres have won again. They are 7-0. They complete the sweep. The bullpen, Robert Suarez, another save. Dylan Cease was outstanding. Jackson Merrill on contract day homers. And this unbelievable pinch me start to a season continues for San Diego on their way to Chicago at 7-0.
I mean,
I don't have anything to say.
I'm literally speechless. Like I'm legitimately speechless. I've been in this town for 15 years now. It's not, like some people in this town, obviously, that have been in the media, but 15 years watching Padres baseball as closely as I have, covering this team for as long as I have. We're watching history right now, folks. Like, we are legitimately watching and living in a time of history with this team. This ain't a fluke. This ain't a fluke 7-0 start. I can confidently say that. It's not like they started out the season against the A's and the Marlins. Guardians and the Braves, those are 2 good teams. I know the Braves are winless. I know the Guardians, obviously they got swept this series. They took 2 in Kansas City before they got here, and they have a good team as well. And yet the Padres just dominated, and I mean dominated, the Braves and the Guardians in back-to-back series to start their year. This is legit, folks.
It's another all facets win today, where you get the pitching, You get the relief pitching. You get the power from Jackson Merrill. You double steal your way to a run in a 4-run, 2-out rally. That's where this game was won. A 4-run, 2-out rally. This has been the Mike Schilt formula. Be aggressive. It often pays off. They're running like the wind the first week of the season. They have so many steals. Fernando Tatis Jr. has 5 steals because he's credited with the steal today. He has 5 steals in 7 games.
Machado has 4 steals.
We've talked about like, hey, is Tatis ever going to have a chance to steal 30 bases in a season? He's going to steal 30 bases this month on this pace. So you have something playing out right now in front of our eyes that is going to be so much fun to watch. No matter what, ebbs and flows come and the highs and the lows, but it's going to be so much fun to watch just based on what we've seen play out over 2 series.
The only thing that I'm like disappointed about.
What are you disappointed in?
Here's what I'm disappointed in.
Okay, I'm listening.
Imagine if this weekend it was like Padres-Dodgers.
That'll be unbelievable.
That's the only thing. I wish that they played the Dodgers earlier this year. I wish they did. Instead we got to wait till June for that to happen.
Wouldn't you prefer they're both 50-0 when they meet?
Well, yeah, that'd be awesome too.
I kid, obviously.
No, there is nothing to be disappointed about. They are playing fantastic baseball. Everything has gone right for them. The vibes could not be any better. Literally, like they could not be any better.
Possible.
And I would also put in things that have gone the Padres' way this week. I hate seeing it, but Jackson Profar, all we did offseason was talk about how they needed to resign Jackson Profar. And when they lost Jackson Profar to the Braves, I especially was upset about it and thought that was going to be a big loss to their team over the full year. They didn't sign him. He goes to the Braves and he gets suspended for PEDs. And you're almost looking at it as like, we dodged a massive bullet here. So you dodged a massive bullet with Profar. All of your new players that you've brought in have been awesome. Jackson Merrill is hitting 400 on the year. And oh, by the way, they just signed him to a 9-year, $135 million contract. Manny's great. Tatis is great. Hey, Luis Ariz had a home run today. Everyone that is complaining about Luis Ariz, he's going to be fine. Schulte's making all the right moves. I mean, just like, you're speechless.
Completely speechless, but you know who won't be? Mike Schilt. And we'll hear from him coming up as he comments on a Padres series sweep again. Deja vu. San Diego 7-0. They'll be in Chicago on Friday morning to take on the Cubs to open their first road series of the year. Kevin Acee swings by at 5:30. Mark Ziegler will join us coming up at 5 p.m. on Magoon Guas decision. We've got you covered, Padres fans. This will be our wrap-up show on Jon and Jim. It continues next.